Welcome back to the One More Mistake podcast. I am your host, Elizabeth Faulkner, and today I'm joined by Jewel. He's the CEO of Ivy Vision and a it's a production studio where I am the head writer at, which is very new. So Jewel, would you like to tell us about yourself?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Houston, Texas, and I moved to Georgia for college, graduated, or went to SCAD, graduated this past May, and now I'm just kind of just freelancing right now, kind of just keeping myself creative. I think that's the best way to kind of sum it up in the pandemic right now, or kind of with the situation, because like we graduated, everybody expected like hella jobs to come out, and no one's really working right now. LA's back on a shutdown, literally. Like they just started back in shutdown, and Georgia's the only place that's quote unquote open. So
yeah, that's very weird, especially specifically like the city of Savannah, where you can go to any bar. There is almost no restrictions. In fact, there's one bar in Savannah that follows the guidelines, and they're about to go bankrupt because no one wants to go to them.
Yeah, it's very, it's lax here in Georgia. Like right now I'm in Atlanta, and it's very much open. Like people are moving around. We don't have a curfew. And I think this is a really prime opportunity and we can do it. Like, a lot of films and television companies have been practicing safe protocols for filming through the pandemic, and it's possible. I did my research. I've read the guidelines and everything, so I think it's a prime time to kind of gear up and kind of stay creative behind the scenes. So that's what I've been doing for a little bit. Now we're kind of getting... like 2021, I guess you could say, for Ivy Vision is all about expansion and kind of solidifying the company in the departments in the company. So I think it's good. I think it's coming along slowly but surely, as you can tell.
Yes. But I mean, that's how most things are. Just getting used to it and then going, okay, now we got to start doing stuff.
Right. And I think one thing that a lot of creatives through the pandemic, and you can probably stress to this, is just trying to stay creative and trying to keep the motivation up. So, it's not to say like you're getting lazy or you're procrastinating, but, just keeping that creative energy. So you never know when things are going to pop off, and you might need to send someone a script, or you might need to send someone a pitch, and you want to have those things ready and on deck. So when you do have the opportunity, when that comes, that you can go ahead and just snatch it and grab it and take advantage of it. So you don't have to say, oh, wait, I'm not done with my treatment yet, or I'm not done with this part yet. And so that's what we're doing. We're basically stocking the vaults.
And that's what I've been doing too. And it's so helpful, because then you don't have to worry about like, oh, do you have this? I'm like, actually, I am way ahead of you.
Right.
And they're very impressed by it.
Yeah, they want you to be proactive. They want to see solidified, and it doesn't have to be perfect. That's the key thing. We as creatives, especially as writers, we work on things a lot, and we revisit and we put it down, we revisit, put it down, revisit, and we want to make it as perfect as we can, or as what we want to sell as perfect as we can. So, and the thing is, when you're pitching, you're just getting the concrete idea out there. You're just putting the idea on the slate. And from there, it's kind of just building. Like, we got a pitch the other day. I'm not going to name any names. So I'm not going to say any like crazy details. But Elizabeth, we got a pitch the other day. And like, I took a couple of days to dissect it and get everything. I was like, oh my gosh. Because I got a phone call from Post, and they were like, did you get that? And I was like, yeah, I got that.
Like, you never know like when you're gonna have something come up, so like have everything ready. And also if you really want to work on a pitch something, if you really want to get like a movie made, do it now, because you don't know when you're gonna have the opportunity to, or when you won't have the opportunity. Every day is so different, especially in the film industry, so take any advantage that you can. and like don't not apply for something, don't not pitch something because you're too scared. Like it's that you may only have one chance to, and you never know when the virus came out, it completely shut everything down. So you never know what's going to happen next, and to always pitch it and to kind of, and I think Jewel, I want to bring you personally into the experience of the podcast, which is that in the last episode I had on a queer trans man who talked about like gender and sexuality, and we talked about our own experiences and discovering ourselves. But this episode I want to dive into like your experience, just because I feel like you bring something to the table that other people have not heard, and it is that you started in the film company, and we've talked, and I want to talk about like why you created this film company, because you have a very inclusive team, and that's so awesome to find, especially here in Savannah and like Georgia. You create films for underrepresented communities, like the gay Black experience.
Right. And I appreciate you for bringing me along to this. Like, it's funny because, like, Shakeem, he's a new addition to our team, and he's the head of marketing now. And he's also the talent to our latest release, which is Exposure. So it's kind of fun having the inclusivity of having such a close-knit team. Like, most of the executives on the team, we've been friends throughout college, and we kind of just teamed up, even though they're all doing their own important things. Like Jada's working for Marvel, and Caitlin's actually taking a break from like producing work, and she's actually going to be, working on her family and working on her life and things like that. So we're all moving in different avenues. But the reason that how I started off with this company was, it fell in my hands. Not necessarily an idea, but I just needed to put a tag on something. I had written a script in high school. This is what got me into college, what got me into SCAD. And my first film, Bash, 45-minute long first film. It's literally, if you go look at it, it's literally the cheesiest thing. But it's the cutest film. It's actually still the highest watched film, most watched film out of all of the IV films. So it's a good story, good plot, everything. But if you look at the quality, it's absolutely horrible. But after I made that, I didn't have like a name to put it under. So I said Jewel IV Productions, just because that was quick. But once I got into school, and when you go to SCAD, and shout out to SCAD, they brand you. It's a big deal to me, I think, as an up and coming artist to have one, just because even though it's not very lucrative right now, like I'm not making $100 million movies, or I'm not doing anything crazy. Everything is independent, self-funded. Everyone who's working on the team right now is working like per creative purpose. It's not necessarily they're getting a paycheck every month. If we do have a budget big enough, everyone knows that they get a slice of the pie. Even if you're in a different department, everyone gets to eat. So that's one thing I wanted to do, is make a company, or at least have an umbrella for creatives just like me, who want to just create at a caliber that they know. I've kind of worked my way up to a cinematic caliber, a writing caliber, an elemental caliber in each film, direction that I want to go to. And I kind of know where I want to go when I'm telling stories now. And it took a while. And now, like, as you can see in my writing, and Elizabeth can attest to this because she's seen multiple samples of my writing. It's kind of growing in an aesthetic of social issues, but with Black youth or queer youth. As of right now, with Exposure, Exposure has kind of been the set apart child. We kind of call it that now, because it's the one that's different. It's the rainbow child of all of them. That's what I call it, the rainbow child. And I do like the platform of utilizing it to share queer stories and LGBTQ stories, because you know, if you look on any platform, whether it's a Hulu, Netflix, Disney, I mean, you can name it, there's not a lot of Black queer content or, you know, well, barely LGBTQ content, that is. So having, you know, having a demographic or having films and content within that demographic really does set us apart and really does help. And I mean, everything that we make, and you can attest to this as well, everything that we make is organic. It's original that we come up with. Everything that, whether it's Nathan, Courtney, you, me, even if we get pitched stuff, everything that we come up with is very organic. It's never, it's inspired by other things, but it's never copied. It's never copied and paste. It's never, you know, it's never non-organic. That's the thing. It's just very true and authentic. That's what I love about it. And just bringing authentic stories to, whether it's mine, whether it's yours, whether it's whoever's, to the screen. If I like the story, like we just got the pitch the other day, that we're all kind of like, well, what the hell do we do with it? You know, those are the type of things, those type of pitches that we like to grab onto and kind of say, okay, well, this is something that we're interested to make, or we would like to be a part of into, you know, producing, or whether it's just writing or cleaning up the writing and polishing the writing, or, you know, getting the sound team just onto it, whether it's any part of being a part of the production that we would like to be part of. So that's kind of, I guess, the answer of all of that in the sum of why I do what I do.
Yeah. Now, to take it to more of a very personal questions, and this will, you can just redirect me if you, if it's just too personal, but how do you identify?
Well, I identify as gay. I've dated girls, but I've never actually been involved with a girl.
Okay.
Like, I think, yeah, I've never really been involved with a girl.
So
never,
you could just take you were like a queer person then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, very much. And I've been for a very long time. Like, even, I think that's kind of like before I even kind of knew, in a sense. Yeah.
And with the theme of like, we never know, like death has always kind of been pending, and this is going to get dark, but this is what it's all about.
Right.
As we both know, queer men, especially those of color, are discriminated against and killed at alarming rates. And I'm wondering if you could share some of your experiences that you have felt to help others understand that, and to remind others that, you know, you can't take life for granted.
Yeah. And it wasn't really, this has nothing to necessarily do with, necessarily whether you're queer or not. I just heard a story the other day, or today, like on my way leaving out from Savannah to come to Atlanta. One of my coworkers had passed away. And he wasn't, and I can't definitely say if he was queer or not, but, he was dealing with a lot of things, and I just know in the queer community, and just in general right now, mental health and just depression is very high. And, you know, a lot of people don't know what to do with it. And that's what is the thing. It's, you know, and with our community, I think it's the ideal of coming out, or the ideal of someone knowing of your private involvements, or what you do behind closed doors, or who you spend your time with. I mean, if we just go basis on that, it's not necessarily if you're sexually involved with this person. It's like if you platonically like this person and you're involved with them. Some people don't know their outer who they are kind of conflicts that. And some people don't know what to do with that. So I got some bad news about one of my coworkers passing away, and it was a suicide. And that's what hurts me more than anything, because it was their decision, you know, and it should never be that much. You should never have that much pain or deal with that much pain, whether you're dealing with it being a queer incident or not. So I think it's just to highlight that. It's just to say, like, there's always a way out, and there's always a better day, to say. I know I've had multiple times where I was dealing with my issues as a queer man, and sometimes it was just as simple of me walking in public with my mother. I know that sounds very like,
I've had those like that. Mm-hmm.
Why is that like such a significant moment? But I got my mom used to tell me a lot to walk a certain way, and to talk a certain way, just because I have a high voice. So, and I couldn't help that. I couldn't help anything about that. I still have a high voice now, even though it's dropped a couple of octaves, but I still have a high voice. And I walked with a switch. I know people say that in a way, but I still do. And so that's just how I walk. And my mom thought that was a bad thing. And I dealt with a lot of certain things where it was just like self-reflection or, what do you call it? Like ridicule. Like you just felt like you wanted to change. Like I wanted to change my voice. I wanted to change my height because I felt like I was short. I wanted to change a lot of insecurities about myself, and all that can lead into a depression that can spiral out. And that's my whole thing about, with our community is just, it's okay. You can talk to people, and there's always a way out. It's never the thing of you ever have to take your life, or you ever have to think about taking your life. Your life was granted to be, you are meant to be something, and everyone has a purpose here.
And rates of suicide is way higher in like the LGBT plus community.
Yeah. And that's what's really stuns me, even in just the Black community, but just if we're going to go into a smaller demographic within the Black community,
yes,
it's high.
And it gets even higher if you're trans too. Like that is, I think, one of the most, I think that the most suicide and murders are Black trans people.
Mm-hmm. And especially through this pandemic, like I saw a lot of trans deaths throughout this pandemic. And the thing is, and this is the sad part that I'm saying, is that just because of the pandemic, the silence and the focus on Black Lives Matter throughout this past year, we got to see more of the highlighting news stories of these deaths and the details of who these women were and what they were involved with. And most of them were innocent. That's the thing. They were minding their own business, or they were doing their normal routines of what they would do. And they just get in a wrong place in the wrong time. And it's just, that's the sad part about it, that people, it took a pandemic for us to highlight the focus of, and to spiral in on the focus of these situations that are happening literally every day. And it's sad.
Yeah,
it's
there's
just
a really good movie called Paris is Burning, and it's a documentary, and it is, it opened, I knew about these things, but I didn't, you couldn't see them firsthand, really. This is an older, documentary, but you get to experience and see, and it follows even many people's lives. But it follows this one trans woman's life, and she ends up, it finds out, at the end of the movie, she ended up being murdered. Even though she was within this movie, she never made it to the ending. Because she was murdered. And she talks about how, yes, I can imagine this will happen to me one day, and it did. And no one should ever have to live with that fear.
That constant fear, or that fear that something could happen to them. Black men live with it, Black women live with it. If you name a minority in this country that doesn't live with the fear of something happening to them,
This will
during their
happen
day-to-day
anywhere they
lives.
go, but especially in America, this shouldn't be happening. It shouldn't be even legal to either. In the past episode, we talked about like the gay panic law. I don't know if you know about that.
I've heard of it. I don't know if is it in effect? Is it going to be in effect?
Well, it's not in effect. Okay. It is a law, and it's also a term to justify the murder.
Like it's a defense.
They use it as a defense, yeah.
As a defense, okay.
And it doesn't work all the time. It's not like I can kill someone and say I was panicked because I felt like they were coming on to me. It's only like situational that they get to try to argue, but they shouldn't even have to try to argue it or even win it.
It shouldn't be something to argue. Right. Yeah. That's I've heard of the law. I just didn't, because I don't know.
It's not in every state.
That's why I'm saying, like, I don't think it's a national law. It's kind of like we have a similar law in Texas, is like the property law. Like, we can technically shoot you if you come on our property type thing. But you can use that as a self-defense mechanism or tactic or whatever. But it doesn't work all the time. They have the same way in Florida as well. It doesn't work all the time.
Because people in the past have like tried to, like on Craigslist and stuff, tried to get like gay men onto their property and then they could shoot them legally. But then if they find out that they tried to extort that, then it doesn't work. Yeah,
it doesn't work. But these are sad. That's a sad situation when it comes to like the things like that. That, I mean, people in our own country, whether they, doesn't matter what they identify as, can't be comfortable in walking around or living with the fear of something to happen to them on their normal day. It was sad.
So, do you have any advice you would give to anyone that is currently in your shoes or have walked through your shoes before, to help in any way?
Find an outlet. I've had a lot of periods in like throughout, at least they're more in college, I could say, where it's kind of like, it usually starts as a writer's block or some type of stagnation in my creativity where I start feeling some type of way. And my main thing that I've realized is that finding an outlet to kind of unravel or untie those feelings is a good way, whether it's painting or like going to the gym, working out, finding another hobby. I'm a big reader, so I like to go to Barnes and Nobles and be in there for hours and look at books and read books. I'm a history buff, so I like to binge watch a lot of documentaries now and different historical shows and different things like that. So I occupy my time with something else that's kind of distracting me from what is the problem or what I could be dealing with. And sometimes that's a good thing, but I think, or sometimes it's not a good thing in a sense, like, sometimes I'm avoiding this situation, that it could be also the tactic. But I would say finding an outlet that best suits for you to, like, if you're feeling weary or feeling some type of uneasiness and you just need like a break doing that, I would say take a vacation. I know that sounds crazy, but in the times that we are in.
Especially with mental health.
With mental health, I would say just really like plan a nice getaway, whether it's by yourself or someone that you feel close to or someone that you can have a nice time with. As you can see, I'm in Atlanta. I'm working, but on, tour promo stuff. But this is a good getaway. Like, I've been working like at the hotel consistently. I have a day job. Yeah, I've been working at the hotel consistently for ever since the holidays. So I'm kind of burnt out. So now I'm just taking a couple of days off, coming to the city. Yes, I'm working, but it's more of a decompressing. I'm working on different things. I'm focusing on different other outlets like you, and tomorrow I have a meeting with Nathan and, different things like that. So I'm just going around. I'm not focusing on exposure or well, yes, those are on the back of my head as my duties, but it's a getaway. I'm kind of getting away from my everyday life, which is my apartment in Savannah, and just getting some new inspiration, meeting new people, trying to, being social. I know that's kind of crazy to say right now, in our pandemic state, but being social.
And you can stay social like online, or there's other people. There's always resources out there. And if you, if you have a social media, like put it out there, like, hey, I need friends right now. I need to talk to someone, and I can guarantee you, someone's gonna message you. Someone's gonna want to reach out.
Yeah. I know I was like, I debated on telling people this, but I mean, some people know. If you're like a close friend of mine, but I have a Finsta. I think a lot of people have Finstas these days.
I have one too.
And the reason why I made mine was because I needed like a diary, in a sense, like a journal. But I wanted to utilize
it's very raw
moments, and it's raw.
And the people on it that usually can see it is people you don't have to worry about judgments. You can say whatever you need to.
Yeah, and they're usually your close friends or family members, and you can just be very transparent. I just call it like a transparent journal for me. And you can use different memes and pictures and different things, videos that express on how you're feeling or what you're feeling at that time with your caption of choice. And I share a lot of my personal moments, like that I feel connected to, whether it's, or I preview a lot of things to a certain group of people. Like if I have a new project coming out, and I'm working on the script or I'm working on something, I'll post a little piece of that, or I'll post what's coming next or what I'm going to post in a couple of days, just because I don't know. I'm feeling some type of way about it. I want to post it, but I don't want to post it on my main page because it's not ready yet, or something like that.
If you ever want to feel like, oh, I'm the only one going through a bad experience right now, make a Finsta with just a personal Instagram that is private, and make it so like people don't know it's you. That's the best way to do it, and only follow other people's Instagrams, other people's Finstas or personal Instagrams on that account, and go look at it. You will see people at their lowest. You will see people who truly need help, just like you, and you guys can help each other.
It's a great venting tool, a great thinking tool, feedback tool. I know that sounds like just outrageous, very like futuristic. So 2020 Generation X-esque. Like, that just sounds so social media-esque, but it's actually an outlet that I've actually utilized, and I can definitely say works. I
use Reddit a lot. Like, there's always a subreddit.
Everyone's blind. Right?
It's either you post anonymously, or you have I have a Reddit that you have to like know me to know it's me, really. And then I have another Reddit that you will never know it's me, and I can say whatever I want on there.
Yeah. I haven't gotten onto Reddit, but I like watching. I have a Tumblr, and I like seeing screenshots of Reddit messages.
Tumblr's also was a really good outlet back in the day.
Tumblr is a good outlet. What's another outlet that I was going to say was a perfect.
So people Snapchat that way.
Snapchat. I mean, social media in general is good. What was I? There was another thing. It's gonna come back to me, but I think it was something that had to do with. I don't know. I can't think of it right now. But those are just good things that would help you kind of just decompress and get away, or just clear your mind on certain things. I know a lot of people are dealing with a lot of loneliness now. I can definitely understand that.
Especially when this thing all started. I can't... It dipped a lot for me, but I mean, the loneliness you feel when you physically aren't seeing people, it is damage to your soul. Like, you just don't. It's hard to come back from that.
That's what it was.
Twitter.
Okay, I'm gonna pause. Twitter
is raw. It's a raw social media.
Twitter has become so raw, it can make or break your day. And
it can cancel you too.
It can cancel you. And one thing that I wanted to highlight that you said that can also help you kind of like who've been in my shoes or who are dealing with issues, whether it's on social media or not, taking a hiatus, and this is what I do pretty much every time I'm gearing up for a next project. Taking a hiatus is, and my hiatuses are just scraping away social media and keeping just my Finsta to myself. So only communicating through socially through that platform. So I'll remove my I'll still be on Facebook, but I'll remove my Twitter, I'll remove my main Instagram, and I'll kind of go into like this like closed jewel.
I've learned to stay off Facebook. Facebook I think is the worst one for me. Every time I go on there.
Twitter,
oh really? I think it's only because like I follow very few on Twitter, but like
right.
Facebook. And then if I ever see like an ad, I go in the comment section and then I hate myself because it's always so negative.
There's always
really
negativity.
Negative.
Yeah, Facebook and Twitter and sometimes Instagram can be very, very toxic. And those are the things that I feel like I need to separate from.
Social media breaks are a need.
Yes.
So, it's all about like being content with your own self and don't compare yourself to others.
Yeah, and that's the big thing here that I'm kind of resonating with myself is create what you know, create what you're comfortable with. And it doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be that. It could be yours. And yours is going to be, it's going to be yours. It's not going to be like anybody else's. That's why I'm like, when someone's like, oh, don't let anybody steal your idea. It's like, yeah, you can steal my idea, but you're not going to do it like me. That's the cool thing. I know that sounds arrogant, but anybody can say that because it's true. If I write a script and I give it to Elizabeth, and I say, okay, go make that, go produce that, or I give you the green light to go produce it and direct it, and I'm gonna say, okay, well, I'll direct the same thing. It's gonna be two different projects, same script, same characters, but you have a different directorial style than I do, and you have a different vision than I do. So it's all about the vision, baby. It's really all about the vision and where you direct it. But keeping yourself in a content, like creative space with no osmosis, that's kind of how I do my hiatuses, is really helps mentally. Keeps you focused, keeps you on track. And everything.
So I'm gonna hit you with some rapid fire questions real quick. So
rapid fire.
All right. How's your mental health going right now?
Mental health right now, it's going good. I think Shakeem, and he's in the room somewhere here. I don't know where he is, but he's helping me a lot. We've got a lot, as you know, we have a lot on the deck right now for Ivy Vision. Like, we'll be going on a Forest City tour, screening tour, which is fun. And then we got some things coming up in the year and upcoming this year. We got departmental meetings and a whole bunch of executive things. But I'm staying sane, which is good. Like, I'm getting enough rest. I'm drinking enough water, and I'm not trying to let a lot of things get to me like I normally would. I can be heavily stressed over little things because I'm detailed, but just coming to step back and saying, okay, well, if it's out of my control, it's out of my control. If this is the best we can do at the moment, this is the best we can do at the moment. Because it's helping me get through the process of booking certain things, as a producer, it's kind of just like producing all over again, making sure you never want a stressed out producer because that creates a stressed out project. So maintaining, if your producers are leveled and maintain a good level of sleep, good level of eating, good level of rest, just in general, whether it's sleeping or just taking a time to just sit down and relax, that's important. So I've been doing a lot of that, working a lot, but still having some time to do that. So I'm good.
All right, what is one thing you want to do before you die?
Ooh. Wow, this is annoying. Because that's a hard question.
It's hard.
There's a lot of things I want to do before I die.
What's one thing if you didn't do, you would be so mad over?
Okay, I would be so mad over.
Could just be one thing.
I think it's, I think I would be really upset if I didn't travel to each major continent, if that makes sense. If I didn't touch each major continent, I feel like I would be a little upset. I don't have to touch Antarctica. I know that's hard to get to, but like, you know, Europe and Asia, like I gotta get
places
there.
Of
you know,
culture.
those are places of culture. Absolutely. I think I'll be upset.
If you could relive at any moment in your life, where would you go?
Ooh.
Just one.
Oh, I'm torn. Summer 2016 was iconic in my life. It was the summer that I graduated high school. So I was going into college, which was crazy. So that was a fun year that I would probably relive. Or my trip to Fiji with my mom. That was a really fun. I'm wearing my Fiji jersey right now. Literally, go Fiji. But yeah, that was an amazing trip. I wrote 569 on that trip. And it was the most relaxing moments I've ever had in my life. I would go back any day.
What do you need right now to make everything better?
A deal, a network deal of some sort.
What?
And it could be a network deal. I think that would solve all of my problems. And financial backing for projects. I think that's all I would really want. And that would solve a lot, not just my problems, but that would employ everybody on my team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fully employ them.
What advice would you give someone that you've never met? So there's one thing you could tell everyone who's listening, what would it be?
I think like what I said earlier, everyone has a purpose and everyone has a vision. And it's just up to you, and it's literally your drive. And I've learned that throughout everything, that no one's going to support you like yourself. So, and no one's going to back you like yourself. So ambition is your key driving tool when trying to make your vision come true. So everyone has a purpose and everyone has a vision. So just making it happen is the key. So that's what I would tell everyone. You know, you're here for a reason. Everyone has it. And it doesn't have to be creatively. It could be, I know this sounds crazy. It could be a doctor. It could be a lawyer. It could be picking up trash. Everyone has a purpose here in life. And I know everyone has a dream and a goal, and that's your vision. So everyone can obtain it at some time. I'm obtaining it at a low scale right now, but it's so gratifying. It's so satisfying, even though I'm not making $100 million movies. But
you're doing what you love.
I'm doing what I love, and that's the comfortability of it. And if you're comfortable with that as a creative, you're doing what you're supposed to do.
All right, two more questions for you. What is your favorite way to spread positivity?
My favorite way to spread positivity is, I guess, showing up. Showing up and showing out. Is that, if that makes sense. Going to your friends or going to events that your friends have, or supporting your friends, whether it's buying their new song or going to their events or whatever. But I think supporting and sharing, that's the best way to share positivity. I'm not a big poster about quotes and things of that nature. I know a lot of people are socially spreading like that. I don't. I like, if I'm supporting you or if I'm spreading some type of positivity, I pretty much instantly know you and I'm supporting you. Like, I'm coming to your events, I'm tuning into your podcast, I'm tuning into, and I'm present. And I think that's the best way that I show my positivity. Being present.
All right. That's awesome. All right, one last question. I've berated you with questions. Is there anything you want to ask me?
Yeah, I do want to ask you a question. what is your 2021? I know this is crazy, but I no one's asked me this question yet. And it's day, 4 in the year? What is your 2021 resolution? What are you going to be working on personally for yourself this year? I know I talked about my company goal, which is, everyone knows it's about expansion. So what is your goal this year? And whether it's your brand, your individual brand, whether it's a personal goal, whatever.
My goal is to finally achieve what I've always wanted to achieve as a kid, and this is multiple things. But one is to I achieved it last year, but it was only temporary. To more like self-love, and not only to self-love, but become the person I wanted to be physically and mentally. So kind of doing that. And then the other thing is that I think my thing is I've always wanted to go to LA, or I've always wanted to do script writing, and I'm doing that, but I don't feel like I'm living it yet, because it's not like it's not fully encompassed my life yet.
Right.
And I really hope that I can make something, like actually make something, and maybe get it produced and physically see it and feel like I fully kind of made it, or I am making it.
Right.
But just kind of get my dreams fulfilled, which I guess is everyone's goal every year. But now it's like, this is my main goal.
I love that. And I'm telling you this now because we're at the point, like, I think I'm going to stop writing for a little bit. Like, I'm going to work on different things, like, in the company. Like, I think after exposure, we got one more thing after that. And then I think I'm going to start producing other people's work for a little bit. So whenever you're ready, I know we've already talked about some stuff, but I'm excited to see that. I'm seeing you're growing and you're writing now, even though we've only been writing for almost 2 years now together, roughly almost. So I like seeing the progress that we as writers are doing. So I'm excited to see what we come up with in the room and what we can produce within the upcoming year, or in the upcoming years to come, because we're also in a split year now too. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what 2021 brings us, both of us.
So what is your resolution?
Personal or
just personal? Because we've got like what you want to do, but like, what's your personal?
Personally, I want to say focus this year. I think I have, like, with the first quarter being planned out already just for the company. I know that has nothing to do with my personal life, but it's about me. It's kind of put me in the structured mode of, like, wanting to continue and create and kind of plan forward. So that's why the email that we got the other day kind of was like, oh, and then certain things that Shakeem and I've been talking about, planning forward throughout the year, and trying to making things happen and things for the company, and just making sure we can budget for certain things and have the financial backing and certain things. Because I want to not stay stagnant. And that's just me. That's my personal self as well. Like, I want to write other people. I want to write my own material, but I also want to produce other people's material as well. Because I think it gives other people the opportunity to do it, like Sean is doing it. And I appreciate that. You know, people think Bridgerton is hers. Yeah, it's her baby, but it's someone else's real child. Like, it's someone else's child. It's Chris Van something. I forgot his last name.
Yeah, he also did the deal with Netflix.
Yes, and that's his baby. Mm-hmm. You know, she's just bringing it to life, and that's the thing that I would love to do. I would just like to bring other people's babies to life. if that makes sense. And I want to work on my other children too. Like, I want to write a feature for real. Like, not just plan it out, but I want to sit down and beat it out for real and get it done. I have a couple of features in mind, and I haven't presented them to anyone in the company yet, but that's a goal of mine sometime this year, personally, is to write a feature and to produce other people's material, at least someone else's material this year, whether it's someone in the company or someone who pitches.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today and talking to me about this. Is there anything you want to plug? Any of your socials? Anything you got going on?
Yes. So, like we mentioned, our company is going on tour for a little bit this winter. Yeah, this winter. It starts off in Atlanta, January, the exposure tour with What the Shoot networking event, with Codivation, which is Shakeem Coda's company. We're teaming up and we launch in Atlanta on January 30th. It's basically a huge networking event. It's not a huge networking. It's very private. But we're selling tickets that should be coming out very soon. And this is an opportunity for creatives. And we have other shows in other events in other cities too. We have one in Houston, Miami, and also Savannah. We'll be closing it out in Savannah. So I encourage everyone to at least make one of the shows. If you can't make any of the first 3 shows, come to the Savannah show. The Savannah show is going to be the biggest one because everyone's based. Most people are based out in Savannah right now, just because of SCAD and just Savannah. People have stayed there for a little bit now, so it's gonna be fun. We're gonna have headshots. So if you need creatives who need headshots, we're gonna be doing that. We're going to be networking with other creatives in the city. There are going to be industry professionals there that you can network with that are also looking to for actors, models, and different things like that for their projects. We will be having a pitch time. I got this pass a couple of days ago where creatives will be able to come up to the stage and pitch their whatever they got going on, whether it's a shoot, music video, they need help with writing or whatever. We're going to be doing that. And we'll also be doing a private screening of Exposure. So I'm excited. Got some good things coming up with that. I hope everyone will be coming, at least coming to see it. If you don't get to come to the tour, then eventually throughout, after the end of festival season, we'll be releasing Exposure to the public sometime. So we'll get to see it. Everybody will get to see it one time.
I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And other than that, you can follow us on Ivy Vision, Ivy Vision Writers, which I will be not controlling anymore pretty soon. I'll be giving my reins up to Elizabeth, low-key, because she's the head of the writing department now, so which is fun. And you can just follow us on our socials. I would just say follow us on our Instagram and Twitter. And
well, what's your main social media? What's your main your non-Finsta?
Oh, my non-Finsta is Jewel, like my name, .iv. And just hit the follow button. I'll follow you back.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
All right, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.